All right, another day, let's work on that guy. Yeah, we're gonna try to take it all apart. Dan's down with me, and so get things off here and get things going. That's number 8. Rings all look good on that one. See all those square flanges on the rod caps? Talking about these guys, whereas this guy's around. They go on the outside of the journal. And so you see how these are out, and then these are out. And then on the tops of the pistons, this little notch always points to the front of the motor. Trying to make sure I get these things all oriented the way they came out of the motor, so that when we put it all back together, we go back in like it was. And notches, that's forward. As to where these rings are at with regard to spec. It's like 120 maybe. Yeah, 119, Dan. That's assuming the calibration's still good. Yeah, calibration looks good. 119. And folks, I'll bring you all in here so you can see what Dan's checking. And so what we're doing is we're just putting a ring in here, bringing it up, keeping it below the ridge, and we're measuring that gap right there. This is compression ring number 1 for the cylinder number 1, and it's measuring this guy out at 119. We both got the same measurement, so we're pretty confident of that. What we're going to try to do now, I think, is go ahead and take these ridges out. We've got a tool for that purpose. Hopefully we can figure out how to use it and do a good job on getting this out. So we'll be taking our time on this. Oh, excellent point, young man. I think you yep. I think you just hit the nail on the head. I'm glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. And that ridge is going to be right here at that line. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. I think once we get something like this close, the hone is going to straighten all of the rest of the imperfections out. And honestly, Dan, I think that's about as accurate as this tool will get. What? There's still a little ridge up through here, and there's hardly any down there, if at all. We can actually see it. It's duller, you know, from the. It's like outside the cut. See here, there's cut above and below it, and it's got a darkened area where, you know, it just didn't cut. And I think it was a rill that was in the top up there. What I'm thinking is that may have been left over from their ridge ream when they remanufactured this motor. And that's how imperfect this ridge reaming stuff is. You're just trying to get the, the mass. If you get it pretty close, that's about as good as you're going to get with these tools. That feels pretty good right there. Check that out. Not perfect, but it feels pretty good. We're getting kind of consistent results. They seem smooth on the outside, but up on the upside up here, they're not pulling down enough material. That's pretty close. Yeah.
Man, this is not...
Something ain't right. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that, guy.
It's nice.
I left a silly ass ring in there.
Like, man, I thought you would have left this to where you could just slide it in.
Yeah, it's like, wow, what the heck is that? That was odd. Seems to be getting closer on the top than on that side. Which, yeah, and that's about, it's consistent. And I wonder if it has something to do with what they call the thrust side of the motor. Because when I was reading all that information about how to clock the rings when we put them in, they were saying the thrust side of the motor on the passenger side is outward, and it's on this side up here. It's always the upper side of the clock side of the clockwise movement of the crank. All right, so we got the ridge reamer run through all of the cylinders, and they're not perfect, but they're pretty good. You can see the top here where we ran it, and it's funny, but this inside edge up here is smooth, whereas on the opposite bank, it was like the opposite side. The outside edge was really good, and then the top side still had a little bit of material left. So we got the ridge reaming done. I'm gonna cover maybe Thursday or so. We'll get out here with the hone after we pull the crank out, and we'll hone these cylinders, and then we'll clean it up, and it'll be ready for reassembly. I had to order a new set of rings today because the motor was close to 60 over. I thought it was 40 over, but it looks like we're close to 60, and we're gonna just put a set of 60 over rings in it. That's the way it is. And the one ring that I found that was stuck, that was the one piston. Otherwise, all the rest of them were in good shape. They were all free and floating. And but some of them were clocked at the same point. So honing this motor and putting new rings in it and clocking them properly is probably going to give us a pretty decent performance out of this motor. So Dan, I got 2 cams over here that I evaluated the other day. One has a little bit higher lobes than the other, so you know you can stuff more gas in with that one maybe. Maybe that's got a little less wear to it. You can see this old cam that I had in here. You know, it has numbers that are averaging a little bit higher, about 7 thousandths higher overall than the cam that came with the motor. However, the cam that came with the motor, they're all pretty well consistent. In talking with other folks, they seem to think that we need to stay with the cam that came with the motor. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. We get to do whatever we want to do. Consistency or more, you know, is really what the question is.
Consistency.
Okay, if it's consistency, we'll put the cam back in that came with the motor. Now, if you look at the 2 cams, I can just show you where on here, some of the wear on this is the cam that came with the motor versus this is the cam that I had laying over here. This has a little bit more wear than that lobe there. But one difference that I've noted is this rear bearing is a little bit wider than the other one. But for length, these are the exact same length. Everything else lines up the way it's supposed to. Also, the cam gear for the distributor is a little bit wider on the one that came in the motor. So you think we just put the one that came with the motor back in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we will do then. So with that, folks, we're gonna call it a day. Thanks so much again for watching. We'll catch up with you next time. Looks like we're gonna be able to get to assembling this motor before too long. Thanks again. Talk at you later. Bye now.